This is the second champion in Raid Shadow Legends that can do something similar with Ninja, guys. We've never had any other champion to do it. So we are talking about the new Void Legendary, Sulfuryion. I am currently on the test server. So in today's video, guys, we're gonna have a look at this bad boy and see what he can do in Hydra, what he can do in the Spider Dungeon, what he can do in the Sand Devil's Necropolis, and we're just gonna talk a bit about the champion. Now, what I do want to mention is that some of you guys might be wondering, Skratch, what the heck is wrong with you? How are you comparing a support champion with an attack-based champion? How are you comparing him with Ninja? Basically, him and Ninja are the only two champions in the game, if I'm not mistaken, that land HP burn with the same skill and activate it, right? So Ninja does it, attacks 3 times at random, and activates that. He does it AoE, so that makes him great for the Spider, great for Hydra, and for Doom Tower waves, etc. And of course, will be pretty interesting actually for the Nether Spider. I'm curious how that will play out, considering that his AoE attack, I don't think is gonna be as good in there as a Dragstar, for example, but it's still something to think about, you know. Basically, guys, with this skill, Blazing Barrier, fully booked on a 3-turn cooldown, places an HP burn debuff on all enemies for 3 turns and instantly activates any HP burn debuff on all enemies. Now, this skill right here is kind of like combining CCS A3 with the A2. Land HP burn on everybody and then activating it, right? So that's actually a great thing. For the Sand Devil's Necropolis, this will be the second best option after Ninja because he's activating the HP burn at the same time, so you're getting multiple ticks, allowing you to farm that faster. Of course, with a Brimstone, will actually be most probably under a 2-minute run on Sand Devil's Necropolis. But basically, places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns equal to the damage inflicted by the HP burn activation. The value of the shield cannot exceed 25k HP. My main complaint about this champion, guys, he is a Void Legendary. Now, I do think Void Legendaries need to be great, not just decent, okay? And this skill is great, but it's missing the unresistible part on the HP burn, which makes him a bit weak on the Spider Dungeon if you want him to land the HP burn as well. Because you're still going to need an Ignatius, you're still going to need a Drang to land the HP burn to ensure that you're gonna land it 100% on all the Spiderlings. If not, you're gonna get randomly resisted with this, and that might cause issues with the team. Either fail, either have a slower farm on the Spider Dungeon. Now, it's not necessarily the biggest problem in the world, you know, so let's just say we can live with it. With A1, Volcanic Rend attacks one enemy, fills this champion's turn meter by 15%. Also fills the turn meter of all allies except this champion by 10% when attacking a target under an HP burn debuff. That's actually pretty interesting. It will allow us to rotate pretty fast, right? Like constantly gaining turn meter. Ally attacks, counter attacks, just regular attacks, constantly increasing the turn meter if we're attacking targets under HP burn. Then the A3, and this is a revive skill, guys. That's why just the A2 is great, but you have this revive, you have the A1. I don't think this champion is at the rank of a Void Legendary champion. Yes, we do have worse Void Legendary champions in the game than him, but I feel like 2023, they're power creeping the champion so much. I do think that he should be a bit more special and at least have that unresistible HP burn on the A2, you know? And I feel like that would make him pretty amazing and very unique, right? Then revives all dead allies with 50% HP and 40% turn meter, grants an extra turn. So basically, fully booked with the extra turn, you're gonna knock the skill down to a 4-turn cooldown. The main problem here is that this skill doesn't buff, okay? So you revive, no increased defense, no shield, no strengthen, no nothing. You can revive and move over to the A2 if by any chance you have that available and gain a shield on your team. But you might not have that skill available straight after the revive, so then you're gonna move into the A1 and you're gonna be kind of like, well, my team is getting wrecked again because they have no support whatsoever from me. I just revived them, which again is not the biggest problem. The champion does look pretty amazing though. His passive is a massive wall of text, but Fills the thermometer of all allies by 5% for each HP burn debuff placed. Whenever an HP burn debuff is activated, heals all allies by 5% of their max HP. Which is nice. Like, if you are going against a target that has multiple targets, for example, either waves, either Hydra, either Spider, you're gonna get quite a bit of healing on your team. Then, whenever an HP burn debuff is activated on the Scavag, or any Spider dungeon whatsoever, the HP is only gonna be 1% instead of 5, basically. Whenever a HP burn debuff is removed from an enemy, places a decreased resistance debuff on that enemy for 1 turn. That's actually nice. Like, you're gonna get a decreased resistance. It will lower your accuracy requirements. The only problem is that it's gonna be after 3 turns or after 2 turns, and by then your champion should already do their job, you know, so decreased resistance doesn't become as relevant as you might think it is. And honestly, a lot of you might think that this is extremely beneficial for your team, but I can tell you, if you're trying to build your champions with lower accuracy because of this skill, it's not gonna work good for you, because it's gonna be extremely hard for you to time the skills on the other heroes and him, because this is gonna be pretty random, okay? Whenever an ally is killed by an enemy under a HP burn debuff, fills this champion's thermometer by 20%, and then increases this champion's speed by 7 for each active HP burn debuff. And as you probably guessed it, yes, I do have him built on Relentless, just because he's gonna be amazing for Hydra. Like, the best thing to use in Hydra, guys, is Relentless on champions that deal damage, because that will add you a lot of damage, at least on most of them. Some of them work great on Reflex as well, but this champion is definitely going to be doing a better job on Relentless, because you are planning to use multiple skills on the champion, because he is a reviver as well. Now, keep in mind, he's very needy in terms of survivability stats. You want him to stay alive in order to carry the rest of your team. I have 50k HP, 2.3k attack, 3.9k defense, 263 speed, 442 accuracy. Now, I do have a bit of overkill on accuracy here. I could definitely knock down 40-50 accuracy and get more HP on him, for example. In terms of masteries, guys, I have offense and support 3. War Master as tier 6. That's gonna add a bit of extra damage on Hydra. It's gonna add a bit of extra damage on the Spider as well, and of course on the Sand Devil's Necropolis. And then we have Master Hexer to try to increase the duration of the HP burn, maybe for 4 turns on the Hydra. That would be great. Then we have Spirit Haste for gaining a bit of extra speed whenever our allies are dead, allowing us to try to bring them back as soon as possible. Cycle of Magic again, Shield Bearer, because we are putting a shield on the team. So I'm gonna replace him in my normal team, guys. I want to see how he's gonna perform instead of Ignatius, for example. So if I would build my Artak for damage, for example, I will be able to do this with a 4-man team, basically. Now, the main idea here is that, can he replace Ignatius? Can he replace Drang without a problem? If you have a combo of the champions that I have available right here, yes, because Royal Guard kind of comes in as a safety net, in case if anything goes wrong. But look at the damage just coming in from him. It's actually pretty nuts. The animation is pretty cool. So let's actually go over it again. This time around, we're going to put it in slow-mo once we're going to get at him. After Newt takes his turn here. Okay, so there we go. Check this out. Putting the HP burn and activating it at the same time. So it's a good amount of damage. Then, of course, we have Artak, we have Theodore, and we have Royal Guard coming in and swooping the last damage. And you have him dropping in 16 million damage, and that's because he landed the HP burn. So yes, you can definitely use him instead of an Ignatius or a Drang if you have these champions available, and if you are able to do it in the same way. If your team is not having a safety net like my Royal Guard in here, who is just gonna come in and basically clear up the mess in case if they survive, then probably you might find yourself in a difficult situation every now and then. I don't have to say it, this champion is gonna solo the normal Spider guys, like stage 20 and all those. He's gonna destroy them, like, without a problem. You're gonna need a different build, you're gonna need him on a regeneration, you're gonna need to give him resistance so he doesn't get poisoned, and he's gonna be able to do it without a problem. Like, let me just show you as an example. So if we go on stage 25 on normal, because I don't have him built like that, I'm actually going to have to play it a bit differently. But let me just show you what I'm going to do instead. So UDK is going to compensate for my lack of resistance, and just because I don't have the regeneration either for this particular stage. So I'm trying to don't get damaged by the spiderlings. I don't care if the spider damages me. Hopefully it's not going to be too dangerous, you know, but like this, we're just going to be safe because UDK is going to get all the hits from the spiderlings, and slowly we're just going to rag the spider queen. Like, for this is great, right? Like, if you want to have a champion to do this for you, yeah, it's absolutely not a problem. He's going to solo this dungeon like a boss on normal difficulty. And it's probably going to do it around a minute or so. It's definitely not going to take him long either. Look at that. Bang. And that's because of Relentless. Extra turn, and again an extra turn, again an extra turn. Do it! Bang. 48 seconds, you see? Let's take him in for a spinning Hydra. We're going to do Nightmare, and I'm actually going to replace Geomancer out of my team with him. I'm going to bring him in here for the HP burn detonation. Keep in mind, I'm not using him as a support champion. If you want to do that, you can. He's going to be kind of like a secondary support in here, a backup reviver in case if my Duchess gets devoured, for example. But basically, I want to see what sort of damage he brings out, because AoE HP burn and instantly activating it is pretty damn powerful. Void Affinity, so you're not going to get weak hits, of course, unless the Toxic Cloud is on. If I would want to use him as the main support champion in my team, I would probably pair him up with champions that bring in block debuffs to ensure that we're dodging all the provokes and weakens and poisons that come in from the Hydra. It's going to be very important. Maybe an Inquisitor Shamael to help us with the Head of Torment, put him in the lead. Like this is constantly going to rotate, bring in more HP burn, etc. Revive more often if needed. And maybe even a Mithrala, multiple cleansers in here to help us out. Champions that buff. This champion doesn't bring in increased defense, doesn't bring in strengthen or anything to really keep your team alive. And when he revives, keep in mind that he doesn't buff the team. So it's very likely that once you revive, the Head of Rat is gonna smack you again, or somebody else will smack you again and put some of your champions down, basically, you know. What I'm loving about him here is the A1. Constantly giving that thermometer to your team is actually so freaking beneficial. So helpful, honestly. It's such a good thing to have that. Similar with Molly, right? Like Molly Tankard and her passive is so helpful as well. You know, like look at that extra turn. Again, we're going to put that, activate the HP burn, and look at that damage just going up. Unfortunately, we haven't landed any provoke with Husk, so they're going to get to cleanse, but that's fine. We'll keep on going. We're gonna go on it, you know. We're not gonna take any prisoners whatsoever. Boost thermometer only on himself, and that's because we had no HP burn on anyone. Okay, seems like we lost one champion there, which is fine. You see, when Duchess revives, she gives continuous heal. No thermometer, but it gives continuous heal, and it gives that it gives you that veil, you know. And right now he actually revived, gained the extra turn, and luckily we had the A2 available, and that put the HP burn and put the shield on the team, you know. So if you manage to kind of like match the skills in that order, A3 to A2 is great, because you're gonna gain the shield, so you don't have to worry about whatsoever, because you are getting some buffs from him. But that's not gonna be the case in most of the situation, you know. I find it pretty unlikely to happen very often, you know, because you can't really control the AI, what skills they're using in what order. So even if he moves to the A1, you might be able to gain some thermometer, because I would assume you're gonna have that HP burn on the enemies if you don't have the A2 available. So you're gonna gain 10% more thermometer on your champions that got revived, you know. So that's not bad. Turn 19, 10 million damage. I'm so curious to see how his damage compares with Husk, for example, which is another enemy max HP. Acrisia, she's pretty strong, so I don't think he's gonna get near Acrisia whatsoever. I don't have the champion build for damage, because how I mentioned, I want him to tank for the team and carry the team in case if needed, you know. And probably building him for damage might not be a good thing Now, every now and then you do get surprised with the support champion dealing crazy damage, like you have Sinesha, you have Lissandra, you have quite a few support champions that hit hard, you know? So, I wouldn't be surprised if by any chance he would have decent multipliers and would actually smack pretty good with the AoE attack, you know? But still, I wouldn't suggest you to build a champion like that, you know? And here we are, turn 26, 12 million damage, pretty nice. We definitely need that new Hydra difficulty to come out, man. Bring that new difficulty out, Plarium. Improve the rewards. Give us some new challenge in Hydra, you know. Okay, so we passed the 1 key damage, so we're gonna be able to see what exactly is happening here. How much damage we actually got from a Sulfuryion. He did actually a pretty good job because my Duchess got devoured at some point, and he actually came in as a bit of a clutch, you know. So we have 38.9 million damage. I have Sulfuryion with 6.2 million damage. I have Husk with 10.7 and Acrisia with 20.6. So comparing him with enemy max HP, like with the Husk, for example, is actually fairly decent. He doesn't beat Husk in damage, but he's doing a pretty good chunk of damage, you know. So we can definitely say that it's pretty nice. Now, if it would be to pair this champion with Artak, for example, remember that Artak's passive is kind of like destroying his own HP whenever HP burn gets activated. So I feel like that would put Artak in a bad spot, and it won't be that great like for the Ice Golem, for example, or even for Hydra to pair them together. You want to have the HP burn on, you want to activate it, but you don't want to drop it too fast because the Toxic Cloud is going to be around. And yeah, you could play around with the skills on how to land the HP burn, but this is the result for Hydra Nightmare. Fairly decent result. I'm actually pretty happy with it. Can't really complain about it. And I'm going to change the build on him and we're going to move over to the Sand Devil's Necropolis. So for the Sand Devil's Necropolis, I changed the build. I do not want to have him in Relentless. I don't want to have him too fast. I don't want to have him too tanky. And I want to have more accuracy. Basically, these are the total stats. 40k HP, 3k attack, 3.1k defense, 224 speed, and I have 560 accuracy. The more accuracy, the better to minimize your chance of getting resisted. I actually want him to die as fast as possible here, because the more turns he takes, the slower the run. So we're going to run him with Godseeker and Iri. It's going to be a duo similar with Ninja. We're going to have food in here. He doesn't need to be on a Affinity Breaker because he's Void Affinity, which is a great thing. And you want to have a specific preset. He's not allowed to revive, okay? We don't want to revive the food or anything like that, because that will make the run a bit longer. So we want to make sure we are spot on with what we're doing. If I would have a 5-star or a 6-star Brimstone on the champion, I really think that we are going to be able to get this done probably under 2 minutes or very, very close to it. So right now, you see we are getting that massive shield, which will keep the champions alive after the second hit from the boss. So that does slow us down a little bit, but is ensuring that Godseeker and Iri will not die. So if, for example, you are struggling to get those stats on a Godseeker and Iri for a comp like this, he will make it much easier for us because of that shield, you know? So that's pretty good. 40 seconds in, we got around 25% HP down from the boss. Activating it, then another tick dropping when it's taking the turn. It does help quite a bit. Now, how I mentioned, a Brimstone will make it much better. I'm running Ninja on my account with a 5-star Brimstone, and I am doing it roughly in around 1 minute to 30, 1 minute to 40 seconds. That's kind of like my average time for this team. And how you can see, we're actually not doing bad at all without Brimstone. And I don't think Krognam or any other champion in the game will be able to do this as fast as these two champions, you know? So if you don't have a Ninja and you're gonna put your hand on this bad boy, it will definitely be a massive carry for a lot of you guys in the Sand Devil's Necropolis, because it's actually a fairly decent time. So I feel like this is gonna take us around 3 minutes and a bit, the way it is. And honestly, it's a pretty good time considering that we don't have Brimstone. Definitely, I wouldn't complain about that. If you're doing it with Drang, I think it's like 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes sometimes if you don't have Brimstone. So that's one thing to keep in mind too. So that's why I think he's actually pretty solid in here. You see, 2 minutes in, and we almost dropped 75% of the HP. Not yet, but we are getting close to it. If he would die a bit faster, you know, if that shield will not keep him alive, we would do this even faster, you know, because we will save some time on animations. Like Ninja instantly dies, you know, like he has no chance of surviving. He comes up, goes back down after he uses the A2. That's another thing that makes it so fast with Ninja, you know. But here we are, look at that. Almost that, 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Now, if he would activate the HP burn with the A1 as well, it would be amazing. That would make this even better. But unfortunately, it's not the case, you know. But that would be an awesome thing, 100%. Would be such a good thing to have that, you know. So yeah, with Brimstone, I think you can definitely shave around 1 minute from this, 100%. So that would be actually pretty good, a good contender to Ninja for the Sand Devil's Necropolis. And the good part is that you can use him on every single stage. There we go. Bang, 3 minutes and 11 seconds. And you have Sulfuryion with almost 5 million damage. Now, of course, you can use this champion in dungeons. You can use this champion in Doom Tower waves, on Doom Tower bosses. Plenty of different content. Maybe even in Clan Boss on a pure chaos sort of team, faction wars, etc. But these are the main highlights where I think that this champion will shine compared to other support champions. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you a fan of the champion? You think he's strong enough to be a Void Legendary? That was all for this video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.